Siouxland is a place of opportunities for immigrants. There are jobs available, housing, community support, but do we really know the challenges they faced?
We asked community members to tell us what challenges they thought an immigrant faced, and if they believed an immigrant could be successful here in Siouxland. 80% agree that language and cultural differences are a major challenge. The other 20% say obtaining citizenship to the U.S. is another major challenge, but they all agree that immigrants can be successful here in Siouxland.
We may have an idea, but here are real stories from immigrants in Sioux City.
I was born in Mexico, in the region of state of Jalisco, same state as Guadalajara, which is the second largest city of Mexico, and moved here to Sioux City when I was about 16 years old, freshman at North High. The biggest one I would have to say would be the language, because we spoke very little English. I could not even answer questions from the classroom. I remember failing my English class even after 1 year of being in the U.S. because I wasn't brave enough to ask questions. I was afraid that people would not understand me. Fitting in was difficult. 16, limited English proficient, truly a minority at North High at that time. That was one of the most difficult things.
I was born and raised in Greece. Language was the first thing, and I'll say the culture was a shock for me as well. Food was different. People had not been exposed, especially in the Midwest, had not been exposed to foreigners until the recent years. When I came here in '74, there was hardly any foreigners. Now you see more Hispanics, you see Asians, you see Somalis now. So I think people are getting used to it a little bit more, but back then it was a little more difficult.
This is Albert Okine, and he is from Ghana. When Albert first came to the United States, he faced difficulties. They included establishing himself in a country with no friends, understanding the American slang, figuring out what to do in order to be successful, and trying to understand the culture.
This is Natalia Mujo. She is from Guatemala and she owns Natalia's Bakery. When Natalia first came to the United States, she moved to California, then ended up moving to Iowa. Like any other immigrant, Natalia faced difficulties. They include learning a new language, adjusting to a colder climate, and not having the community support she needed. Along with challenges, these immigrants have been successful here in Sioux City. Maria Reales is the principal at Irving Elementary. Albert Okine is a psychiatric physician assistant at Dean & Associates.
George Chabanos owns Sioux Body Shop, and Natalia Mujo owns Natalia's Bakery.
We surveyed community members and immigrants throughout the community and asked what they thought it takes an immigrant to be successful.
It requires people who know how to navigate the system to be there for them, to truly be advocates and to understand their struggles and why they're here. Empathy goes a long ways. Getting to know the person goes a long ways. Not everybody wants to be informed. It's easier to go with stereotypes than truly understand what you are about. So language, culture, breaking down those stereotypes, finding people who were empathetic, that was very beneficial. Very beneficial.
That they're given the chance to be successful. They're given the opportunities that everyone else has. You know, we as educators or community people, you know, we need to be able to help fill that knowledge gap. I don't think we should expect them to do it on their own. I also think, in addition to what I've said about being successful, I think we need to honor and celebrate every language that's here in our community, in our buildings, every nationality, every ethnicity. I don't think that we should expect someone to conform to the American ways.
There's no obstacles for them to succeed. I mean, even now, I know people that don't have a legal status but own their own landscaping business, own their own construction company. I don't think there is anything that they can't do, in my opinion.
As an immigrant, I think you probably have to work a little harder. So I had to work harder to prove that you are a good bodyman or a good painter or a good businessman. I think it takes a little extra work to convince the people that you could be just as good as everybody else, or you are as good as everybody else.
It's obvious that immigrants face difficulties, but with the community support that Siouxland has, they can overcome anything and be successful. If we as a community come together and acknowledge their voices, we will become a stronger community.
We are the voices of Siouxland.
Somos las voces de Ciudad.
Tôi là tiếng nói của Siouxland.
We are the voices of Siouxland.